Is your film festival ready? We're going to talk about sound and music tips which will make your film ready for the top festivals in the world. Film festivals are very, very competitive, and there are music and sound tricks and tools and tips that will help you get above the fray. So there's a lot of competition, but there's a lot of ways to get ahead. So let's talk about sound first. It's important to realize that thousands of films are sent to these film festivals, and there are different screening panels. It may have to get through 2 or 3 or 4 panels in order to be even considered for entry into a film festival. And one of the biggest turnoffs is bad sound. So let's talk about sound elements first. So the first thing we want to avoid sound-wise is we want to avoid big drops in sound. We don't want noise. We don't want a heavy noise floor that's very, very distracting, especially if the noise is equal or louder than the dialogue. If we hear a noise in the background, we'll start to forgive it. But if it drops in and out, that will pull us out of our story and will annoy our not only our audience, but any panelists or adjudicators who are deciding the fate of your film in their festivals. So important, have a very consistent noise floor. Second thing, we want to hear what we see. If there are footsteps or trees blowing in the wind or a car passing by, we want to see that. If it's in the foreground, if it's way in the back and there's a car passing, not a big deal. So we want to take the time to make our natural sound really good, or add sound effects or Foley or that kind of thing. And it doesn't have to be every single thing, but when things are in the foreground and we don't hear them but we see them, then we disconnect. Now, having a music cue can fill that void, and is sometimes an easier thing to do than to sound design every frame of the film. It's going to make the adjudicators of the festival panel turn it off and put it in the discard pile. Third thing, make sure your dialogue is at a consistent, clean level, and that the ambient sound that's on your dialogue track doesn't go up and down, up and down. Now, I'm not talking about if 2 characters get in an argument and they get heated and their volume changes. That's natural. But if 2 people are having a conversation, a discussion, and it's relatively the same, the volume shouldn't jump back and forth. Or if they're having a discussion in a room, one person's dialogue shouldn't be much louder than the other. And it's very possible that it will be, because one actor might be closer to the boom, one actor's lav is closer to him, and that's the best sound, whatever the case may be. So we want to make sure those dialogue levels don't jump and the natural sound and ambient levels don't jump. Those throw people out of a story very quickly, and it shows that we're amateurs and not professionals. And when we submit to these film festivals, we want to show how professional we are. All right, let's move on to music. So the first rule of music is, I see this all the time where a filmmaker doesn't want music. In the opening scene, they say, oh, no, I just want to focus in. I just want to hear the sound of the wind blowing. I just want us to look at the frame. It's a bad idea. And I'm going to tell you why it's a bad idea. Because everybody thinks that. They think they're being different, but it's a common way that people are trying to avoid being common, and it's a trap. So what I suggest that you do is you have a piece of music in the beginning of your film that really encapsulates and shows the audience viscerally what this film is about. This film is about loneliness. This film is about struggle. This film is about love. This film is about happiness. If you go right into action into your film, well, then the music should adjust that and the sound should all adjust that. But if you have some sort of an opening with titles, let us hear and feel what this film is about. Prepare us for what we're about to see. Second, let's talk about music licensing. Do not put anything in your film for which you do not have a license. If you don't have a license, it's going to be disqualified from the festival immediately. So make sure every piece of music you use is licensed, that you have some sort of agreement in writing that says we can use this music. And on the flip side of that, many folks think, well, I'm going to get a festival license and I'm going to get the best song. I'm going to get an AC/DC song. I'm going to get a festival license. Well, festival licenses are pretty easy to get and fairly inexpensive in relation to what they would cost for a commercial production. And a lot of times you can get them. I would advise against this, and highly, because if you think about a film festival, let's say you get into even the best festival, you get into Tribeca, you get into Cannes, you get into South by Southwest, you still have a limited bunch of eyes on your film. And then when you go to distribute it, and there's so many opportunities, even with short films now, to distribute via Amazon, YouTube, Vimeo. You can get so many eyes on your project and get fans and get people interested in your work that don't attend these big festivals by having them online. The festival gives you some industry cred and things to post about on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc. But the film festival doesn't really give you the audience you need. So think about this ahead of time. If you have a festival license and then you want to put it on Amazon or you want to put it on YouTube, well, then you have a problem. You have to go renegotiate this license for your very expensive song, your AC/DC song, and then all of a sudden they have you over a barrel. And they say, well, the festival license was $1,000, but now if you're going to use it on Amazon, it's going to cost you $10. I don't know these numbers exactly, but there's a lot of lawyers involved. There's a lot of paperwork, red tape. Don't put anything in your film with a festival license, and don't put anything in your film without a license. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about is getting a film score. You should get a film score. There's a few reasons. One, you get a film score for your film. You don't have to worry about rights. You have all the rights to use for the film. And you work out with the composer whatever it is that you need to work out. But you always have the right to show this film, exhibit this film, sell this film, and do whatever you need to do with it without paying any extra. That's so valuable, because then the film can go anywhere, live anywhere. There are so many online outlets, and now just more and more are coming out all the time. So have an original score made, and then all of these problems can be addressed ahead of time. There's another really fantastic thing about getting a composer. When a composer watches your finished film, your pick lock or your fine cut, whatever it is, they will have a reaction that is more like the reaction of the audience that anyone else in the project has. And the reason for that is they're seeing it finished. They're coming to it fresh. So they can say to you, oh, you know what, I think we need music here because I'm feeling it slow down a bit here, or we need music here. I'd love to feel a little more empathy for this character here, or I'd like a little music here, or let's come up with a sound that's really unique to your film, and that will help you stand out in the festival as well. So it's sometimes a little bit extra work, but there are thousands of composers that want to write for films, that want to get into festivals, that want to start their careers, and take advantage of that and get that extra set of eyes and ears on your project. It's so important. So let's get your film ready for festivals. Let's get in, let's win some awards, and I will see you next time on Film Music Mentor.